this situation is actually a few days old. I was watching what action will be taken by the House of Assembly, by Senate, and even by the affected politicians in River State, whom I expect to be in the court by now, because above the above the president himself, there's the law, and I expect those who are affected to take the primary step. Let me confess that I was surprised at the ease with which this emergency law, that step, was applauded and passed. And then the critical question, even within the powers of a president on a democratic dispensation, there are areas of discretion. And you're quite right to point out this wholesale suspension of everything to government. I think that's an over excessive response within the rights and the powers. We're assuming now, let's say that the president is constitutionally right, but within his powers, there are also areas of discretion. And I think that the wholesale scuttling of the democratic existence in the rivers was excessive. I think it could have been managed much better, much more economically. I think the president did not sort of curb the extent. He didn't economize on his presidential emergency powers. On that issue, I agree with you absolutely.
Prof, call a spade, not a shake for mouth. Why are you shaking? Why are you scared? You have supported rubbish. You are not shaking. Look at you now. You are trying. Prof, call a spade. Bola Tinubu is illegal. He's executing illegal. He's unconstitutional. He is fraud. Why you the fear? You don't see the problem. This is because you have swayed your hands. You were supposed to be a distinguished Nigerian that is supposed to stand for the rule of law, separation of power, due process, an intellectual institution, a hub of ecumenical wisdom, a man that is supposed to be one of the proudest institutions in this country. You supported a man that clinically has been fraudulent all his life, fraud with his business, fraud with his education, and now he has constituted nuisance. You are robbing, you are sugarcoating it. Bro, you don't pass this level. You see yourself, look at what you have reduced yourself to. You can no longer tell Tinubu to his face that this is wrong. You are now going through corners. I'm disappointed in you. I used to read Prof like I was reading my life. Somebody I paid keen attention to his progress. Now we have to begin to look at the politics involved, even in his Nobel laureate that he went to win. It was disappointing. Till today, I still cannot find myself having to talk about Professor Wole Soyinka publicly. The friends that knew me back in school would know how much I honor and eulogize Professor. Suddenly, you've made yourself a political caricature, political ikunkwankwan, and now you are shaking. Look at you, Professor Wole Soyinka. You can no longer hold this now. You are running. You said you are going to have 1 year to assess the government. 1 year don't pass, so shame not let you come out. Now you are coming out gradually. He's a disappointment. Say it. Tell him to his face. Open up, we'll forgive you. Tell Tinubu you're a disappointment. We'll forgive you. It's a rubbish thing. Now you are saying you are blaming House of Assembly. You are blaming Senate. Who is the person that went against the Constitution? And then you have captured. This is what we're telling you, Prof. In case you don't know, children are talking to you. I told you the other time. You gotta remember when I watched the video. In this generation, gray hair will bow to black hair because wisdom no longer reside because you have been old. It's how well you have gotten the idea, tapping into long-term ancient spring of continuous flow of inspiration for the change of this country. For people like you that could not effect so much change, I thought you would support younger Nigerians who are ready to do it. But then you still went ahead to play the bandwagon support for your Yoruba brother. And now suddenly you have lost your voice. You are not shaking. You oratory prowess. You oratory prophet. You public speaker of great repute. Blessed with natural ability to speak. You are not shaking in words, Prof. You see, this is what we say when you lose integrity. You see what it has led you to. Talk. Open your mouth and talk. Do another interview. This will not work. Go and sit in that your fine part of your compound where you have vegetation, flowers, sit down and address the nation and tell Tinubu that he has misbehaved, he has messed up. What did they happen, sef? Say more dey quiet. See yourself now. Would have been better that you didn't even put your hand in all of this. Look at what you have turned yourself to. Now you're not a caricature. They will drag you now. They will drag you. Was it not better that you stood for what is right and just and collect more dragging for a while and be a long-term you will get posterity and prosperity to say, I said it. Now Nigerians not going to tell you, say, did we not tell you? Are you not ashamed? You're not ashamed. Disappointing, no? And I've looked at very distinguished Nigerians fall into the trap of playing tribal ethno-religious politics. Some of them because of economic gains and deceiving. All of them pastors. Paul Adefarasi. A Saul will come. David. Why are you deceiving? Where the Saul, where the David? And now, of course, your ministry moves. As a pastor, you benefit all of this. The more terrible the economy is, the better for you as a man of God. But it's unfortunate, sir. Not be you, prof. Where me, the honor. Because they say, nah, Badue, curse every other candidate because wanting to eulogize a fraud of a human being, a criminal. And now look at where you are. You dey shake for mouth. You can't talk. You are not bold enough. You, Professor Wole Soyinka. What will make me lose relevance in my life? I cannot grow to this point and I turn myself to a laughing stock. Children call they use it, they laugh. Imagine, but I'm telling you on Twitter and X now, say, make you quiet. You are finished. They finished you. You allow tribal politics to overtake you. You are not shaking the words. When I watch the rest video, I can't even have time for all of that. I'm out of here.
This situation is actually a few days old. I was watching what action will be taken by the House of Assembly, by Senate, and even by the affected politicians in River State, whom I expect to be in the court by now, because above the president himself, there's the law, and I expect those who are affected to take the primary step. Let me confess that I was surprised at the ease with which this emergency law, that step, was applauded and passed. And then the critical question, even within the powers of a president on a democratic dispensation, there are areas of discretion. And you're quite right to point out this wholesale suspension of everything to government. I think that's an over excessive response within the rights and the powers. We're assuming now, let's say that the president is constitutionally right, but within his powers, there are also areas of discretion. And I think that the wholesale scuttling of the democratic existence in the rivers was excessive. I think it could have been managed much better, much more economically. I think the president did not sort of curb the extent. He didn't economize on his presidential emergency powers. On that issue, I agree with you absolutely. There's an issue of the Constitution. Is the president's action constitutional? And I hope the affected politicians, governor and representatives, that they test this all the way up so that we get a clearer picture once and for all. Instead of running around in circles from regime to regime, it should be possible by now for one to be able to say confidently that this action is illegal, is unconstitutional, or otherwise. So for now, we can only leave it to the constitutional lawyers to guide us. Now, the next question is it politically wise? In my view, this takes us on a slippery slope. It's not what I would have liked to see happen right now with all our struggle to attain a federal structure. The spirit of it, in my view, is contrary to the spirit of federalism. Now, it's very carefully and deliberately, because this does not vitiate maybe the rightness of the action. It does not establish the wrongness. But with my commitment to a genuine federal structure, when an event like this happens, I say we're back on the slippery slope. And I hope that it is tested all the way, because as I've said, we've been through this before under different regimes. It's either we have a decentralized federalist structure, or we have a quasi-dictatorial, whimsical kind of government which just panders to the political leaning of whoever happens to be in charge at the moment. So that's my take on it. Obviously, I'm going to go deeper and find out just what on earth has been going on in the real estate that led to this, what I consider an unfortunate step in our federalist journey.